Very good morning, students. Happy to see you all back. Welcome to economic class. Let us now see the part 3 of the lesson, Indian economy. Contributions of Indian economic thinkers. Let us now see the various economic thinkers of India. Thiruvalluvar, Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Ambedkar, Kumarappa, Amartya Sen, and V.K.R.V. Rao are some of the Indian economic thinkers. Now let us see about Thiruvalluvar. Thiruvalluvar was also an Indian economic thinker. His economic ideas are found in his immortal work Tirukkural, a book of ethics. What do you mean by ethics? Code of laws. It is generally believed that he belongs to the Sangam age in Tamil Nadu around 3rd century AD. A large part of Valluvar's economic ideas are found in the second part of Tirukkural, the Porutpal. So the economic ideas of Valluvar are found in the second part of Tirukkural, that is Porutpal. It deals fully with wealth. Thiruvalluvar is a fundamental thinker, that is basic thinker. He believes that rains are the basic support of life. He believes rain, that is the natural source of water, is a basic support of life. Since rain provides food, it forms the basis for stable economic life. He believes that it is the rain that is providing food and it is the rain that forms as a basis for the stable economic life. It is rain that both ruins and aids the ruin to rise. He says that it is the rain that destroys and it is the rain that aids the ruin to rise. So he has given a utmost importance for rain, and he strongly believes that it is the rain that is providing food and forming the basis for stable economic life. Thiruvalluvar's views regarding factors of production. What do you mean by factors of production? The necessary things that are needed to produce a commodity, that is called as the factors of production. What is his views regarding this? He made many passing references about the factors of production, namely land, labor, capital, that is money, organization, time, technology, etc. He says unfailing harvest, competent body of men, group of men whose wealth knows no diminution are the components of an economy. He says that in any country, if there are good, skilled and abled person, if it is more in number, they will not allow the agriculture to fall at any cost, and that particular country wealth will not get reduced at all. He says, எந்த ஒரு நாட்டிலும் திறமையான தொழிலாளிகள் மிகுதியாக இருந்து விவசாயத்தை வீழ்ச்சியடையாமல் பார்த்து கொண்டால் அந்த நாட்டின் செல்வம் ஒரு நாளும் வீழ்ச்சியடையாது. This was the opinion about Thiruvalluvar regarding the factors of production. Thiruvalluvar, economic ideas regarding agriculture. According to him, agriculture is the most fundamental economic activity. The basic occupation that everybody should know is agriculture, according to him. They are the axle pin of the world, for on their prosperity revolves prosperity of other sectors of the economy. He says that agriculture is the axle pin of the world. That is, for a wheel, we say that Achani is very important. Axle pin is Achani. Achani is very important for a wheel to revolve. In the same way, for any country to function, agriculture is very important. On the prosperity of agriculture, the other sectors also will prosper and the entire economy also will prosper. He also says, he gave a kural based on this. The plowman alone, he says, live as the free man of the soil. The rest are mere slaves that follow on their toil. Only a farmer can work according to his wish. The other men should work as slaves for another man. Vallabha believes that agriculture is superior to all other occupation. See the kural what he has given based on this agriculture. உழுதுண்டு வாழ்வோரே வாழ்வார் மற்றெல்லாம் தொழுதுண்டு பின் செல்பவர். உழுதுண்டு வாழ்வோரே வாழ்வார் மற்றெல்லாம் தொழுதுண்டு பின் செல்பவர். உழவு தொழிலே மற்ற தொழில்களை விட உயர்ந்ததாக வள்ளுவர் கருதுகிறார். Public finance. Thiruvalluvar has elaborately, very detailed manner, clearly explained public finance under the headings public revenue, financial administration and public expenditure. He has stated these as creation of revenue. Public revenue, he has called it as creation of revenue and collection of revenue. Financial administration, he has told as management of revenue and the public expenditure. So he explained the public finance elaborately under the headings public revenue, financial administration and public expenditure. Let us see about these economic terms in detail. See the terms public finance, that is creation of revenue, the study of government activities which may include spending, deficits and taxation. In Tamil we can tell it as Podu Nidhi. Next is public revenue, that is collection of revenue. It refers to government revenue, example taxes, fees, etc. In Tamil it's called as Podu Varuvai. Next, financial administration. As told by Thiruvalluvar, it is management of revenue. It is concerned with raising public revenue, allocating public funds and resources and managing public asset. Nidhi Nirvagam. And public expenditure, it is a spending made by the government of a country on collective needs and wants. Example, pension, it's only one of the example, that is Podu Selav. Public expenditure. Vallabha has recommended a balanced budget. Balanced budget, a country's revenue should equal country's expenditure. What he says regarding this, it is not a great misfortune for a state if its revenues are limited, provided the expenditure is kept within bounds. It is not a great misfortune. A country should not think that it is in a great misfortune since it is having limited revenue. The country should keep the expenditure within bounds. Then that particular country need not worry about the less revenue. He has given certain guidelines for a budgetary policy. Budgets can be of three types: balanced budget, surplus budget, and a deficit budget. He says if you submit a balanced budget, it is well and good, or go for a surplus budget but never give a deficit budget. It is not good for the growth of the economy. He advocates that more items should be, or more amount of money should be spent for defense, public works, and social services. See the terms budget. What do you mean by budget? Estimation of revenue and expenditure of a government over a specific period of time, that is for 1 year. In Tamil we will say it as a வரவு செலவு கணக்குகள். Next, balance budget. Here revenue, that is income, equals expenditure, samanidhi nilai. Surplus budget, in surplus budget revenue is greater than the expenditure, ubari nidhi nilai. Deficit budget, expenditure is greater than the revenue, that is patrakurai nilai. So Thiruvalluvar says that a country have to go for a surplus budget. It is very well and good. If not, at least try for a balanced budget, but ever don't go for a deficit budget. External assistance, that is a country seeking help from another country or depending upon other country. Valluvar was totally against this external assistance. He has quoted this in one of his Kural number 739. He says that countries taking external assistance are not to be considered as countries at all. If any country, if it is depending upon other country, that particular country is not considered as a country at all. That is, நாடென்ப நாடா வனத்தன நாடல்ல நாட வளர்ந்தரு நாடு. In other words, he says that he advocated, he supports a self-sufficient economy. A country should be self-dependent. It should not depend upon other country. Poverty and begging. He was against poverty and begging. He considers freedom from hunger as one of the fundamental freedom that should be enjoyed by every citizen. Even though you give many freedom for the citizens, the greatest freedom is the citizen should be freedom from hunger. According to him, poverty is the root cause of all other evils which would lead to everlasting sufferings. He says poverty is the root cause, main cause of all other evils which would lead even to everlasting sufferings. It is to be noted that today number of people living in India below poverty line, begging, sleeping on the roadsides and rag picking has been increasing. Wealth. Valluvar regarded wealth as only a means and not an end. He says that wealth is only a means, வழி மட்டும்தான், not an end, அதுவே முடிவல்ல. He said, acquire a great fortune by noble and honorable means. He told to get more money in a honest manner. He condemned hoarding and described hoarded wealth as profitless richness. He was against hoarding. What do you mean by hoarding? Padukal, padikki வைத்தல், that is called as a hoarding. He described hoarding as profitless richness. To him, industry is real wealth and labor is the greatest resource. He says the real wealth is industry. The greatest resource we have in hand is labor. Welfare state. Thiruvalluvar supports always a welfare state. The important elements of a welfare state are what he says how a country should be. Perfect health of the people without disease. நோய் நொடியற்ற ஆரோக்கியமான மக்கள். Abundant wealth, பெருஞ்செல்வம். Good crop, நல்ல விளைச்சல். Prosperity and happiness, பலம் மற்றும் மகிழ்ச்சி. Full security for the people, மக்களுக்கு முழு பாதுகாப்பு. Your country should possess all these welfare schemes for the people. Mahatma Gandhi, the next great Indian economic thinker. Gandhian economics is based on ethical foundations, based on good ethics, that is code of laws, நன்னெறிகள். நன்னெறியை அடிப்படையாக கொண்டது. In 1921, Gandhi wrote economics that hurts the moral well-being of an individual or a nation is immoral and therefore sinful. He says, ஒரு தேசத்தின் அல்லது ஒரு தனியாரின் தார்மீக ஒழுக்க நெறிமுறைகளை காயப்படுத்தினால் அந்த பொருளாதார நடவடிக்கையும் இழுக்கானது, மேலும் அது பாவமானது என எழுதியிருந்தார். Salient features of Gandhian economic thought. First thought, village republics, கிராம குடியரசு. Gandhi says India lives in villages. He liked the villages to be self-sufficient, தன்னிறைவு பெற்ற. He was against use of machines, urbanization and industrialization. Urbanization, நகரமயமாதல், industrialization, தொழில்மயமாதல். So Gandhi was against all these three: machines, urbanization and industrialization. Next feature, on machinery, இயந்திரங்கள். Gandhi described machinery as great sin, மிகப்பெரிய பாவம். He told to write books to demonstrate the evils of machine, the bad effects of machines. People should be made aware of the evils of machines. People should realize that machines are sin, not a boon. Boon means varam. He also said that machines will put an ultimate end for our life. So he was totally against the machinery. He says machine is a sin, it is not a boon. Industrialism, தொழில்மயம். Gandhi considered industrialism as a curse, sabam, once again on mankind. He said the industrialism has capacity to entirely exploit the country. Next, decentralization, உற்பத்தி பரவலாக்கம். Gandhi supported decentralization, that is production at a large number of places. The production place may be small, it may be even people's home. Next one, village sarvodaya, grama sarvodaya. Gandhi said that real India is living in villages only and it is not living in towns or cities. So he said that the villages should be self-sufficient, தன்னிறைவு, and self-dependent, சுய சார்பு. So he is saying that real India we can see only in the villages and not in the towns or cities. He also liked the villages to be self-sufficient and self-dependent, and he was totally against industrialism and he supported decentralization. Bread labor, உடல் உழைப்பு. Gandhi realized the dignity of human labor. He believed that God created man to eat his bread by the sweat of his brow. That is, man should work very hard and earn money and eat with his earned money only. Gandhi expressed bread labor as manual labor. Doctrine of trusteeship, that is அறக்கட்டளை கோட்பாடு. The transformation of present capitalist into an egalitarian one, சமத்துவ சமூகம், or the doctrines of trusteeship. There is no importance for capitalism. Now India experiencing both casino capitalism and crony capitalism. Casino சூதாட்ட capitalism and crony குறை கூறும் capitalism. So he also told about the bread labor and the doctrine of trusteeship. Next Gandhian feature on the food problem, உணவு பிரச்சனை. Gandhi was against food control. He told people not to control food. He thought that food controls create artificial scarcity, that is பற்றாக்குறை. Once India was begging for food grains to other countries, but now India tops the world in the production of food grains, fruits, vegetables, milk, egg, meat, etc. Next feature on population. Gandhi opposed population control through contraceptives, that is artificially. He supported birth control through self-control or brahmacharya. He considered self-control as the best method to the problem of overpopulation. Next feature is on prohibition. Gandhi advocated prohibition very strongly. He regarded taking liquor as a disease rather than vice. Gandhi felt that India to be poor than to have thousands of drunkards. But today, most of the states depend on liquor for its revenue. So finally, he has given the importance about the food problem, population and the prohibition. He was strongly against the controlling of food, and he was also opposed the population control through contraceptive manner, and he strongly opposed the liquor. The next great economic thinker of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was one of the chief builders of modern India. There were many builders who built modern India. He was the chief among them. He was the first Prime Minister of independent India. He was there in his post till his death in 1964. He was a great patriot, the one who loves the country very much, thinker, சிந்தனையாளர் and statesman, சிறந்த அரசியல்வாதி. His views on economics and social problems are found in number of speeches he made and in the books he wrote. Let us see about his economic ideas. His first economic ideas: democracy and secularism, ஜனநாயகம் மற்றும் மதசார்பின்மை. Jawaharlal Nehru was a strong believer of democracy. He believed in free speech, பேச்சுரிமை, civil liberty, குடிமக்கள் உரிமை, adult franchise, வாக்குரிமை, rule of law, சட்டத்தின் வழி ஆட்சி, parliamentary democracy, பாராளுமன்ற ஜனநாயகம். He contributed secularism to India, மதசார்பின்மை, secularism giving equal importance for all the religion, that is மதசார்பின்மை. Many religions like Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Jainism and Zoroastrianism, Sikhism are found in India, but no special importance is given for any of the religions. All are treated equally. Secularism means equal respect for all the religions. Planning. Jawaharlal Nehru introduced the planning system in our country. He said, planning is essentially an integrated approach for development. He said planning is nothing but an integrated approach for the development of India. In May 1956, Nehru spoke on the theme of planning. He said, the essence of planning is to find the best way to utilize all resources of manpower, of money and so on. Planning for Nehru was essentially linked up with industrialization and eventual self-reliance for the country's economic growth on a self-accelerating growth. What he says is, திட்டமிடுதலின் சாரம் என்பது மனித சக்தி வளங்கள், பணம் இவற்றை சிறந்த வழிகளில் பயன்படுத்துவதை குறிக்கும் என்றார். திட்டமிடுதல் என்பது தொழில்மயமாதலோடு தொடர்புடையது. இதன் மூலம் ஒரு நாடு தன்னைத்தானே வளர்ச்சி அடைய செய்து தற்சார்பினை அடைகிறது. His contribution towards advancement of science, research, technology and industrial development cannot be forgotten. Many IITs and research institutions were established during his period. He always insisted on scientific temper, that is அறிவியல் மனப்பான்மை. He always insisted upon this particular concept, that is scientific temper. So he is the one who laid the foundation for planning in India. Democratic socialism, Samadharmam. Socialism is another contribution of Nehru to India. He put the country on the road towards a socialistic pattern of society. Nehru's socialism is democratic socialism. நேருவின் சமதர்மம் என்பது ஜனநாயக சமதர்மம் ஆகும். B.R. Ambedkar, the next great economic thinker. B.R. Ambedkar was a versatile personality. What do you mean by versatile? Capable of doing many things. பன்முகத் திறன். Capable of doing many things. So he was a person of that sort. He was the architect of the Indian Constitution, a custodian of social justice, and a champion of socialism and state planning. இந்திய அரசியல் சட்டத்தை உருவாக்கிய சிற்பி, சமதர்ம காவலர், சமூக நீதி பாதுகாவலர் மற்றும் அரசின் திட்டங்களை வடிவமைத்தவர். He submitted a thesis to the Columbia University for the award of the master degree in 1915. Name of the thesis is Ancient Indian Commerce. He submitted another thesis for his PhD course, National Dividend of India. His thesis on provisional decentralization of imperial finance in British India was accepted for MSc degree in 1921. His another thesis, The Problem of the Rupee, was accepted for the award of the DSc degree by the London School of Economics in 1923. The main economic ideas of Ambedkar may be studied under four broad headings: financial economics, agricultural economics, economics of caste, economics of socialism. Financial economics, Nidhi Poraladaram. Much of the work done by Ambedkar during his stay abroad, mostly that is during the period 1913 to 1923, he was in abroad, and most of the time he spent in writing a book on finance economics. So he wrote 3 books. What are they? Budget by Assignment in the year 1871-72 to 1876-77, Budget by Assigned Revenue 1877-78 to 1881-82, Budget by Shared Revenues 1882-83 to 1920-21. Next is the agricultural economics, Velanmai Poraladaram. In 1918, he published a paper, Small Holding in India and Their Remedies. He cited Adam Smith's Welfare Nation and made a fine distinction between consolidation of holding and enlargement of holdings. Consolidation of holdings, Nilavudamai Oringinaipu. Enlargement of holdings, Nilavudamai Virivakam. So based on these two concepts, he has written a book on agriculture, small holdings in India and their remedies. Economics of caste. Ambedkar believed that caste was an obstacle to social mobility. Obstacle, Tadai, social mobility, Samuga Munnetram, for the growth of the economy. It resulted in social stratification. Stratification means division among the caste, Jadi மற்றும் சமூக பிரிவினை. He was of the firm view that individuals must be free to change their occupations. Individuals should be always free to often change their occupations. They should not stick on to the one particular type of occupation. The caste system caused social tension, Samuga Padatam. The caste system has resulted in the absence of social democracy in India as distinct from political democracies. He says, சாதி முறை அரசியல் ஜனநாயகத்தை விடவும் சமூக ஜனநாயகத்தை அமைப்பதில் தோல்வி அடைந்து இருக்கிறது என்று அவர் கூறுகிறார். Next, economics of socialism. Ambedkar was a socialist, Samadharmavadi. He was a champion of state socialism, Samuga Needhiயின் பாதுகாவலர். He was for state monopoly of insurance business. He advocated compulsory insurance for every citizen. There is no doubt that Ambedkar was a great economist. but his academic work as an economist was eclipsed by his greater contribution. He contributed more in the field of law and politics. Above all, he was a great social reformer. Next economic thinker, J.C. Kumarappa, Joseph Chelladurai Kumarappa. Let us see about him now. Joseph Chelladurai Kumarappa was born on 4th January 1892 in Tanjavur, Tamil Nadu. Kumarappa is credited for developing economic theories based on Gandhism. He coined Gandhian economics. J.C. Kumarappa strongly supported Gandhi's notion of village industries and promoted village industries. He was a strong supporter of Gandhi. Since Gandhi supported village industry, Kumarappa also supported the village industries and promoted for it. Kumarappa worked to combine Christian and Gandhian values of trusteeship, non-violence, focus on human dignity and development in place of materialism. Gandhi and Kumarappa envisioned an economy focused on satisfying human needs and challenges. Both worked for the satisfaction of human needs. Kumarappa worked as a professor of economics at the Gujarat Vidyapeeth in Ahmedabad while serving as the editor of Young India during the Salt Satyagraha period. He founded the All India Village Industries Association in 1935. He was imprisoned, that is, he was sent to prison for more than a year during the Quit India movement organized by Mahatma Gandhi. Kumarappa took the lead in a number of relevant books in the 1930s and 1940s. He wrote number of books in the year 1930s to 1940s. Historian Ramachandra Guha calls Kumarappa the Green Gandhian. Kumarappa worked for the Planning Commission of India and the Indian National Congress to develop national policies for agriculture and rural development. He also traveled to China, Eastern Europe and Japan on diplomatic assignments and to study their rural economic systems. So, Kumarappa joined hands with Gandhiji and participated in all his freedom movements. Next great economic thinker, V.K. R.V. Rao. V.K. R.V. Rao was a prolific writer, that is, Kaiternda writer. V.K. R.V. Rao was deeply interested in three large themes. They were national income, food, nutrition and the distribution of goods, employment and occupational distributions. National income methodology. As an applied economist, Rao's name is still remembered for his pioneering work on the enumeration of, that is, estimation of national income of India. He suggested a method how to calculate the national income of India, so he is still remembered. Rao was a pupil means student of an economist J.M. Keynes, and he worked with another economist Colin Clark. H.W. Singer considered V.K. R.V. Rao as the best equipped of all the Keynes students. Among all the students of Keynes, the best student was Rao. He attempted to develop the national income concept suited to India and other developing countries generally. to analyze the concepts of investment, saving, and the multipliers in an underdeveloped economy, to study the compatibility of the national incomes of industrialized and underdeveloped countries. Rao's paper on full employment and economic development was one of the earliest contribution in the field of development towards employment. All these were the great achievements of Rao. International Food Aid பன்னாட்டு உணவு உதவி. Rao was influential in creating ideas and shaping policy in the international attack on the world poverty, not only through his contributions to the question of international aids and improved flows of external resources, but also through his activities in the field of food aid. So what he says is, உலக வறுமையை ஒழிப்பதில் ராவ் சிறந்த கொள்கைகளை வகுத்து தந்தது மட்டுமல்லாது, உணவுப் பொருட்களை பன்னாட்டு அளவில் பரிமாறிக்கொள்ள வேண்டும் என்றும் தேர்ச்சி பெற்ற பன்னாட்டு சாதனங்களின் பங்களிப்பு கருத்தையும் முன்வைத்தார். தனது பங்களிப்பு மட்டுமின்றி பன்னாட்டு உதவி மற்றும் வெளி வளங்களின் மூலம் உணவுக்கான நிதி வாய்ப்புகளை உருவாக்கினார். சப்போர்ட் ஃபார் சோஷியலிசம், சமதர்மத்திற்கு ஆதரவு. During the early phases of planning in India, that is before the formation of planning in India, Rao supported the case of a socialist India, where the state would control the commanding heights of the economy and the public sector would play a dominant role in the economic development. So before the arrival of planning, Rao supported socialist India. He said that state would control the commanding height of the economy and the public sector would play a dominant role in the economic development. Rao's views on industrialization. What is industrialization? Setting up of more industries. தொழில்மயமாதல். Rao gave the following reasons for low per capita income and low levels of per capita nutrition in India. First one, uneconomic holdings with subdivisions and fragmentation. Fragmentation, division of lands. Next, low level of water availability for crops, lack of water supply, excess population pressure on agriculture due to the absence of a large industrial sector. The entire population dependent only on the agriculture sector because of the absence of a industrial sector, absence of capital, not enough money, absence of autonomy in currency policy and in general in monetary matters, encouraging hoarding of gold. People started to hold the money in the form of a gold, not in the form of currencies. All these are the reasons given by Rao for the low per capita income and for the low levels of per capita nutrition in India. Village clusters. Rao felt that rural communities had to be given a viable base. So he suggested that a cluster of villages, that is group of villages, should form a unit for rural development so that both social and economic interactions between villages could develop and they could effectively generate and fashion their own development with a more meaningful participation by people. What Rao is saying is, கிராம முன்னேற்றத்திற்காக கிராம குழுக்கள் அமைக்கப்பட வேண்டும். ஊரக வளர்ச்சிக்காக கிராமங்கள் தொகுப்பாக ஒரே அலகாக செயல்பட வேண்டும். அதனால் கிராமங்களிடையே சமூக மற்றும் பொருளாதார மேம்பாடு அடையும். அக்குழுக்கள் திறம்பட சுய முன்னேற்றத்திற்கு பொதுமக்கள் பங்கேற்புடன் தங்களை வடிவமைத்து கொள்ளும். குழுக்கள் ஒன்றுக்கொன்று உதவி கொள்வதாகவும் அதன் மூலம் சமூக பொருளாதார தொடர்பு கிராமத்தில் அதிக வளர்ச்சியையும் ஆற்றல் மிக்க உற்பத்தியையும் தன்னாக்க முறையில் செய்ய பொதுமக்கள் அதன் முன்னேற்றத்தில் பங்கெடுத்து கொள்பவராகவும் இருக்க வேண்டும் என்று ராவ் கருதினார். Investment, income and multiplier. Rao's examination of the interrelation between investment, income and multiplier in an underdeveloped economy in 1952 was his major contribution to macroeconomic theory. So he gave a interrelationship between investment, income and multiplier in an underdeveloped economy was considered as the greatest contribution to the macroeconomic theory. As a thinker, teacher, economic advisor and direct policy maker, V.K. R.V. Rao followed the footsteps of his great teacher John Maynard Keynes, that is J.M. Keynes. Institution builder. He founded 3 national level research institutes, namely Delhi School of Economics, Institute of Economic Growth, both these are in Delhi, Institute for Social and Economic Change in Bangalore. Since he has set up these 3 institutes, he is rightly called as a institution builder. The next and the last social thinker of this lesson, Amartya Kumar Sen. He was a Nobel Prize winner for economics for the year 1998. Why he was awarded the Nobel Prize? Yes, the Nobel citation refers to his contributions to social choice theory, development economics, study on poverty and famines, concept of entitlements, capability development. Because of his contribution to all these 5 concepts, he was awarded the Nobel Prize. Poverty and famines. Sen's Poverty and Famines, an essay on entitlement and deprivation, is both a theoretical and an applied work. In the book, several famines have been studied in the working of a general theoretical framework. From an original angle, he examined various meanings of poverty and drew attention to the incidence of absolute and relative deprivation. Let us see what Rao is telling about poverty and famines. சென்னின் வறுமை மற்றும் பஞ்சம், உரிமம் மற்றும் இழப்பு பற்றிய ஒரு கட்டுரை சிறந்த ஒன்றாக விளங்கியது. அவருடைய புத்தகத்தில் பல்வேறு பஞ்சங்கள் பற்றி ஆய்வு செய்து அவற்றின் உண்மையான காரணங்கள் எடுத்து காட்டியிருக்கிறார். வறுமை பற்றிய பல்வேறு விளக்கங்களை ஆராய்ந்து முழு வறுமை மற்றும் தொடர்புடைய வறுமை ஆகியவை பற்றிய காரணங்களை கூறி கவனத்தை ஈர்க்கின்றார். Poverty and inequality. Sen has carried out massive work on poverty and inequality in India. Sen's major point has been that the distribution of income consumption among the persons below the poverty line is to be taken into account. சென் இந்தியாவில் வறுமை மற்றும் சமத்துவமின்மை பற்றி நிறைய எழுதியிருக்கிறார். வருமான பகிர்வு மற்றும் வறுமை கோட்டிற்கு கீழே உள்ள மக்களின் நுகர்வு ஆகியவை கணக்கில் எடுத்துக்கொள்ள வேண்டும் என்பது சென் அவர்களின் முக்கிய கருத்தாகும். The concept of capability. The concept of capabilities developed by Sen has been cited as a better index of well-being than commodities or utilities. Capability, as defined by Sen, is the ability to transform Russian primary goods to the achievement of well-being. பொருட்கள் அல்லது பயன்பாடுகளை விட திறன்களை வளர்ப்பது பற்றிய சென்னின் கருத்துக்கள் முக்கியமானவையாக கருதப்படுகின்றன. சென் அவர்களின் கருத்துப்படி திறன் என்பது அடிப்படை கச்சா பொருட்களை மக்கள் நலத்திற்காக மாற்றி அமைப்பது ஆகும். Entitlement. Sen has included the concept of entitlement items like nutrition, food, medical and healthcare, employment, security of food supply in times of famine, etc. He considered famine as arising out of the failure of establishing a system of entitlements. Yes, what he is saying is ஊட்டச்சத்து உணவு, மருத்துவம், உடல்நல பாதுகாப்பு, வேலைவாய்ப்பு, பஞ்சத்தின் போது வழங்கப்படும் உணவு ஆகியவை நமது உரிமைகளாக மாற வேண்டும் என்று சென் கருதினார். இத்தகைய உரிமைகள் வழங்குவதில் ஏற்பட்ட தோல்வியே பஞ்சம் ஏற்படுவதற்கு காரணமாகும் என அவர் கருதினார். Choice of technique. Sen's choice of technique was a research work where he argued that in a labor surplus economy, generation of employment cannot be increased at the initial stage by the adaptation of capital intensive technique. மூலதன செறிவு நுட்ப முறையில் உழைப்பாளர்கள் உபரியாக உள்ள பொருளாதாரத்தில் வேலை வாய்ப்புகளை அதிகரிப்பது கடினம் என்று தொழில்நுட்ப தெரிவு என்ற புத்தகத்தில் சென் குறிப்பிட்டிருந்தார். Conclusively, we have come to the conclusion of this Amartya Sen. Amartya Sen, more than just an economist, he is an ethical philosopher. He is a lover of freedom and a humanist. He has focused on the poor, viewing them not as objects of pity, requiring charitable hands-out, but as disempowered folk needing empowerment, education, health, nutrition, gender equality, safety net in times of distress, all are needed to empower people. முடிவாக அமர்த்தியா சென் பொருளியல் அறிஞர் மட்டுமல்ல, நன்னெறி தத்துவ அறிஞரும் ஆவார். அவர் சுதந்திரத்தை நேசிப்பவர் மற்றும் மனிதநேய ஆதரவாளர். அவர் ஏழைகளை குறித்து அதிக அக்கறை எடுத்துக்கொண்டார். மேலும் அவர்களை இரக்கத்திற்கு உரியவர்களாக பார்க்காமல் உரிமைகள் வழங்கப்பட அதிகார உரிமைகள் கொண்டவர்களாக பார்க்க வேண்டும். அதிகாரம் வழங்குதல், கல்வி, உடல்நலம், ஊட்டச்சத்து, பாலின சமநிலை, துன்பம் நேரும் காலங்களில் பாதுகாப்பு ஆகியவை வழங்கப்பட வேண்டியவர்களாக கருதுகிறார். Yes, students, finally we have come to the end of the lesson. Let us see what we have seen in this lesson. This lesson mainly focused on some of the aspects of the Indian economy and its resources, infrastructure, facilities and energy. It also discussed the principles of Indian economic thinkers to motivate the students to read good books on economics written by the great economists. Thank you, students. Let me see you all in next lesson shortly.